Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives. Check out a G2G bar in the refrigerated section at your local grocers. Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, Costco, etc. Oh, my goodness. BYU moving on in the Big 12 tournament down in Kansas City. I love how everybody's on Andy Reid watch. Where's Andy Reid? Andy Reid was going to be. I heard Andy Reid's coming. He did. Turned out to be a good showing for Andy Reid. They got the dub, and BYU moves on to the semifinals, take on Houston, who just beat Colorado an hour and a half ago or so. I guess it went final. So BYU moves on. They beat Iowa State in crazy fashion. They scored 96 points, and to Iowa State's 92, which is a conference tournament record in regulation. And then also the two teams combined for a conference tournament record as well of three-pointers. BYU is 18 of 36 on the three, JJ. It's crazy.
It is. Well, it's a tournament record.
It is.
18 threes is the best at any team. And then think of all the great teams that have played in that tournament over the years. The Kansas teams. And
they were one short of the BYU overall record of 19 in a game, which BYU has done twice, both against Westminster. And as Greg pointed out during the broadcast, Greg Rubelli goes,
"Why were the Griffins catching strays today?"
That's what Greg Rubelli said, too. He goes, and Iowa State is not Westminster. And I was like, geez, come on, let the Griffins go, man.
Kick them while they're down.
They're a lion and a horse. What are they?
It's a mythical creature.
It's a lion and a guy and a owl all mixed into one. Come on.
Westminster's a great school. Now playing D2 athletics.
Listen, your kids would do great to go there, all right?
But
so
BYU,
they get the win.
Proved a lot today.
They did.
They got Iowa State to play their style.
That's right. Kevin Young in the post game. By the way, this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJANwealth.com. For all your local needs in retirement, TrajanWealth.com. Let's take a listen to Coach Kevin Young after the game at the dais. He was there with Richie Saunders, who, of course, ended up in the game with 23 to lead the Cougs in scoring, but he scored 16 of those in the second half. He was 8 of 8 from the line, perfect from the free throw line, and they needed him at the end, too, every one of those, because they just kept giving the ball away or not capitalizing when they could have made it. They could have wrapped that thing up a little bit earlier, but here's what Kevin Young said in the postgame BYU's win over Iowa State today in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, obviously hard-fought game. You know, they were down guys, and they had guys step up, which was exactly what you would expect. The show that Curtis Jones put on in the first half was pretty remarkable. You know, felt like no matter what we did, he was going to make a shot. So our guys did a good job of weathering the storm. And then, did enough on both sides of the ball, down the stretch there to give ourselves a lead. I thought Trey came in and played outstanding defense. Richie's been, really solid for us all year, made some huge plays, made some huge free throws down the stretch, which is, something that we rely on. So I think the last thing for me, just big picture, to go 24 assists on 30 made shots is an incredible number. So I think that speaks to, how unselfish our guys are, and they play for each other, and I thought that was on full display.
Okay, I think we've got a question here on the third row on the left for you, Coach.
Coach, I've got actually two for you. The first of all, talk about 50% from three-point range, 18 of 36.
Yeah, I think that's a season high for us, 18 makes. I just told the guys in the locker room, though, you don't just show up to the gym and go 18 and 36 from three. And it's not even just the shot making, it's how those threes are generated, something that we, pride ourselves on in terms of spacing the floor, in terms of trying to, turn down a good shot for a great shot. Our guys have been that way all season, and so for them to do it, under the bright lights here against a defensive team that is obviously that's their hallmark. That was a really good, carryover for us.
Okay, and then the second question is just initial thoughts about playing either Colorado or Houston tomorrow night.
Yeah, Colorado obviously, came in here with some pride after having a disappointing part of the going through the conference slate. So, they're playing with house money in a lot of ways, which can be dangerous. And then obviously Houston's a team who they speak for themselves. So for us, we played them super early on. They were our first Big 12 road game, and they smacked us. And so, we've grown a lot since then. We feel like we've, found more of our identity since that time. So whoever we play, we'll try to go out there and be the best version of ourselves.
Okay, next one will be on the left side here on the front row.
Richie, Matthew Postins, Heartland College Sports, right here. So the 3 to put you guys up 4 with about 40-something seconds left in the game. Can you talk about the play and just were you surprised at how wide open you were?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but just Dawson Baker, he's an incredible passer. He got the 2 feet, and luckily I was the one that kind of found a little window. But just talking on that, the 2 feet is so key for us. Yes, we shot 50% from 3 or whatever. Like that's incredible, but it's because of the shots that we were taking, and those are like those kind of shots versus just off the dribble, or just early shot clock shots. Like we had a lot of, we call them paint to great threes, and that was just one of them.
Okay. Let's go on the right side here on the second row.
Yeah, Kevin, no one needs to remind you how many turnovers you had up in Ames.
I know you would.
Only 10 today. What was different? Obviously, they were down a couple of really good defenders, but what did you guys do different with the ball?
I thought we had more of a plan, honestly. I thought we were more organized. We had a hard time in that game up there, and it's a credit to their atmosphere. Honestly, it was so loud. It was hard to orchestrate anything from the sideline. I thought our guys got a little discombobulated against it. But tonight I thought we had a little bit more poise. We, like these guys just, Richie just said, we played, more from a position of strength than we did in that game. And look, but let's call it the spade a spade. Gilbert's one of the best defenders, and Lipsy. I think Gilbert doesn't get enough credit for how good he is defensively. So it was a different level of pressure for sure. But nonetheless, our guys executed.
There you go. Coach Kevin Young today after the win. BYU 96, Iowa State 92. They've won 9 in a row, if you're keeping count. And the Cougs take on Houston tomorrow in the semifinals down in Kansas City. That should be a fun one. JJ, I know so many people, and I can totally relate to this as a sports fan, where you're just like, yeah, but this run's gonna end pretty soon. Man.
When are they gonna break our hearts?
On to the NCAA.
What BYU fans are asking right now.
On to the NCAA tournament. We'll see what you can do there. It's almost like they just go, all right, just lose to Houston, and then we'll get to the real thing over here. Just don't. They could make history. They could win this conference tournament, and then they could go on, win a couple games, go to your second week of the tournament, maybe get to that Sweet 16 for the third time in your team's history. What a phenomenal year it would end up being. It's already been
they could suddenly and quietly put together one of the best years in BYU basketball history.
I was having that conversation today with somebody who was like, so where does this rank? And right now it's hard to tell, but
1981 is number 1.
Right.
2011 is number 2. Number 3 is wide open.
Yeah, and I think that because of what league you're playing in, because of the circumstances, because of a first-year head coach, because of a breakout starter that you got in Richie Saunders this year, and just all the things that come along with it. Jim Romania was unmatched because of the type of national insanity that it created. I don't think you can go back and just say, well, that was pretty fun, but that was an insane thing. We were both covering that pretty closely, and it was crazy.
Took on a life of its own.
But this team goes and does something special, then there you go. Be right there.
Well, they haven't won a conference tournament since 2001. They've only won 3 ever.
But again, the Big 12 is different too. So, all right, we'll take the break here. We're going to give some tickets away, though. We've got caller number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE, to win a 4-pack of tickets to see the Utah Royals take on Bay FC this Saturday, March 15th at America First Field. We'll hook you up with a 4-pack of tickets right now just by being caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. We'll come back. The coach, Bear Tourigny, going to join us next. Stay right here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest
his name? You're locked into JJ and Alex, with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for hanging out with us on a beautiful Thursday. Normally, we're joined on a Friday by Coach André Tourigny, but today we get him a day early, and the day after, a big win over the Anaheim Ducks at home here at Delta Center. Coach, welcome back home, and boy, that was a fun one last night. Dylan Gunther's pretty darn good at putting those things at the back of the net at the right time.
Yeah, he's not bad, isn't he?
We like him, Coach.
Yeah. He's doing a good job. Yesterday, especially yesterday, he played a really good, complete game. I mean, both sides of the park, he was really good. He played solid, no doubt about it.
That was just a massive win. Everybody understands why. But what are you most proud of about the way the team performed last night? Because you've been pretty steady about praise for this team and how they've handled themselves. But last night, that was a pretty big win and a pretty gutsy effort by this team.
Yeah, it is. I think there's a lot to be proud of. First, I think we kept our composure when they tied the game. We scored a big goal in the power play. I like the way we, especially in the third period when we defend that lead, the way our team behaved, the management of the puck, the block shot, the effort, both sides of the puck. That was really, really good. So I like the way we react in that situation, no doubt about it.
Taking it game by game is the only thing you can do when you're, in this situation, and certainly trying to look ahead and just be like, oh, look what you have on the schedule. We do that part, but obviously you guys get ready for each opponent right in front of you. I do want to go back to that Toronto game and how massive just that 1 point was, considering being down 3-0, and then, this is the second game in a row of being down multiple goals, coming back, and what that requires, because you brought it up about how the attitude on the bench didn't change. Everybody was looking at each other saying, hey, we know what we have to do. Like, let's stick with it. Let's be resilient. And you brought that up, and that was such a huge moment, because I think a lot of people go, well, you lost the game, but then you go, yeah, but it was a huge point for us. And that moment itself is something about the character of this team. Exactly.
I think you need to give credit to Toronto. They're a really good team. They're an elite team. And the way we respond to adversity, it's you want to measure the character of your team. You want to know, you want your team to come up big in big moment. And I think Chicago, was a tough situation. You're down 3-1. You got unlucky a little bit, but at the same time, we're not playing as good as we can. And to be able to regroup and kind of start the machine and play as good as we could, and being in the really pressure situation, because you need a point. You need to get points every game, and especially in that game in Chicago. So with the pressure, we stay composed. We worked really hard. We were focused. I never felt any panic. And then we arrived the next game at home, down 3-0. There's a controversy around the third goal. There's frustration. I'm yapping at the ref. During that time, the leader on the bench really calmed the bench and said, hey, we got this. We're capable of being better than that. Let's just crank it up a little bit and we'll be fine. And that's exactly what they did. And not long after, we scored the first goal. And right away, we fed off the energy of the crowd. And the crowd was into it. And they gave us all the push we needed. And then 3-2 and 3-3. And we played really well the rest of the game.
Mikhail Sergachev's been one of the best pickups of the offseason, in my opinion, in the entire NHL. And he did it again last night. That kick save was just incredible. I mean, how do you can't coach that, right? I mean, just how did you look back on that play? How incredible was that play that he made last night?
The incredible part is having the presence, the mental presence to do such thing, because his stick is not available, so he extended his skate and stopped the puck. I think that is a high IQ play defensively, and it's a play with urgency. It was a key play at that moment. We had the lead, and that allowed us to stay with the lead. So that was a big play.
Coach, I brought this up the other day when I think when it was a 2-man advantage with against Toronto there, it was either 3-2 or it was already 3-3, but you had like a 40-second 2-man advantage for and I don't get to see it that often. And again, we're familiar with the X's and O's of football. We watch NBA coaches draw up things on the whiteboard, and I'm looking and I'm like, Coach has the whiteboard out, and you're drawing it up, and I'm like, hey. And you don't see it that often. A lot of times, you guys are up there and you're just peering over the edge there, and you're letting your guys do their thing and maybe giving an order here too. But how often do you get to dial up some plays like that and draw it up on a whiteboard like that?
Every day. But the thing is, you cannot do it during the game. The difference with NBA, the transition example in the NBA is not as fast as hockey. Hockey, you need to try to create odd man situation of the ice and race to the net or whatever. So it's super, super fast. It's changed on the fly, and et cetera, et cetera. Which NFL, it's totally different, where there's a 10 seconds play, there's a whistle, we have 40 seconds to get organized, and
it was a lot of furious scribbling for sure. Yeah.
So for us, it's different in hockey, but what's different is all those play has to be designed before. So what we did when we had that timeout is Fozzie just remind the play, the pattern. The 5-on-3, the 6-on-5, 5-on-6 is not stuff we present to the guy before the game, because the chance it will happen during the game are not high. So
right.
What I mean by that is we don't show what the opponent do. We have our plan. We practice our plan. We know what we will do. But sometimes you need to make little tweak depending on how they play on the other side. So, like Toronto, we had a 5-on-3. We had a timeout to just brief the guys quickly of how they will play it and make a few reminder of how we want to play it, and et cetera, et cetera. So those play were not new for the player. They didn't look at it and it was something new. It's something they were used to. They already knew what we were doing. It was reminder of what they were doing, how they were playing it, and how we'll execute it. But it's same thing, 6-on-5, 5-on-6. It's not something we arrive during the game and say, we present the player and say, hey, that's what we will do. They already know. It's reminder, little detail will make the difference.
Josh Doan isn't finding the back of the net every night, and there's a lot of things he's doing that aren't showing up in the stat sheet. But every night I'm watching that guy play, and he's hustling and he's out skating guys. He did it again last night. He beats a guy. He draws a penalty, and that was a huge moment in the game. Yep. What is it about Josh Doan, and what are some of those things that go unnoticed that he's doing that's really helping you guys stay in this race right now?
His IQ is elite. His stick is one of the best in the league at cutting play, getting on the forecheck, stripping guys, and that kind of stuff. We talk about last night, his play, strip the D and get a half breakaway, get a hook, give us the power play where we scored a winning goal. That was a key moment. There's another moment in the game against Toronto where it's less than 2 minutes in the game. They have their third line on the ice. We ice the puck. Donors on the ice with Stanley and Carcone, and we ice the puck, and they put their top line against us with a face-off on the wrong side for Stanley, and we cannot change on the icing. And Donor, we lost the face-off, and he won the battle along the board, who allowed us to chip the puck and have a full change. Those are the kind of play where it's not in the highlight. It's not something people were driving home after the game and talk about that play. But those are the kind of play who make you win games. That made a difference. Instead to get stuck in our zone with 5 guys tired against their top player, we were allowed to get a full change and having fresh guy keep defending and playing the right way, and allowed us to get a big point against Toronto. So those are the high Q play or the high skill play with a stick. He makes it. They're unsung play, but they're really important play.
Coach, last question here before we get you out. Taking on the Kraken tomorrow there in Seattle, and then the Vancouver Canucks. That game speaks for itself, how big of a deal that is. And then on to Edmonton. That's a big stretch of 3 road games that are crucial right now. How do you get you guys composed for those 3 that are on other people's at other people's barn, and keep them dialed in here so they can keep pace?
Yeah, for us, it's one game at a time. They're all important. They're all key game at this point. Obviously, like you said, Vancouver, we all know how important will be that game. But if we win Vancouver and we lose the other two, it doesn't help. So we need to keep winning games on a regular basis because as much as we're fighting with Vancouver, we're fighting with Calgary, with St. Louis. And I'm now is a little bit behind, but we have other teams who are in the hunt. So we need to keep pegging and keep making points and keep winning games.
Coach, we appreciate it. Have fun out there on the road. Keep your guys dialed in. We're just having a ton of fun watching this team, especially this stretch here, as every game seems to mean so much. So thanks for being with us, and enjoy the trip.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Coach.
There you go. I mean, I'm telling you.
So great.
If they had 52 points right now, it wouldn't be as fun to interview Coach, right?
Well,
but I'll tell you, you would get the same version of him.
You would get the same stuff.
I think the way that they approach these things, but this team is in a very different spot. We talked about how similar the paths were of these two teams up until about I'd say 2 or 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And now the points have started to. I mean, like I said, at this point last year, they were absolutely stagnant.
Yeah, no.
On the point
they were
on the
in the
point
midst of
total.
that losing streak. Now they're 2 points out.
So there you go. Let's see this thing. Let's see how it goes, and let's see what these guys can do. Go 2-1 on this road trip, huh? Go 2-1, and maybe that one is an overtime loss.
If they go 2-1 on this trip and they get 1 point in Edmonton,
so you get,
they might be in that second wild card spot next time we talk to Coach Bear. That's how important those 3 games are, and that's how important the results are that you just said. If they win in Seattle and they win in Vancouver, obviously the 4-point swing with Vancouver there, and they get a point in Edmonton, which is really, really tough to win at, those are 5 crucial points. All of a sudden, you're at 74. I don't know what Calgary does. Does Calgary win a couple between now and then? I don't know. I have to look at the schedule. But that gives you a chance. That puts you right exactly. You could not ask for a better result than what you just said. But very possible.
Yeah,
Why not?
Just get 5 points out of the 6. No problem.
It's a lot to ask, but
it is.
That would absolutely flip things their way, in my opinion. That would be massive.
Right.
Especially when you look at what's on the schedule after that. Buffalo's coming to town. That's a dub. It better be a dub.
Oh, last night was funny. They were playing the Red Wings. They're right before the Utah game, and it was 7-3. I was telling you this. And every 2.5 minutes, Buffalo was so frustrated because they're not doing well, and they're playing, and they don't like Detroit. Detroit and Buffalo do not like each other.
No.
And Detroit adds that 7th goal with like 2 minutes left, and the Sabres had it. And so it was just fight after fight. I mean, if you guys were watching, if you were waiting for the Utah Hockey Club game to start up last night, and they're all, join us on True TV. You're like, because they couldn't wait any longer. Because these two teams just kept fighting each other. And I was like, this is where hockey is different, man. Like, it's something else. So, could you imagine stopping a game every 2 minutes and kicking people out? Just like, because there was every 5-minute major, because it was less than 5 minutes, everyone's gone. So the guys are walking off the ice. They're saying they're 2 bits, and you're like, I love this. These guys are as salty as it gets. So, appreciate Coach and spending that time with us as he does every week. The insights are awesome. So, okay. Let's take another break. What do you think? We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Before I do, though, guess what? March is here. KSL Sports is looking to hook you up. How are we going to do it? KSLSports.com. Right there on the webpage, you can sign up for the KSL Sports Bracket Mayhem going on right now. Make those picks for your chance to win $1 million if you get a perfect bracket. Those odds are pretty tough. That's why it's for $1 million, though, right? But the best local bracket is going to win $1,000 if you beat KSL Sports host. Am I reading this right? Jeremiah Jensen? Is the J soft? Is it a soft J?
That guy's an idiot.
Jensen. You can be entered to win $500. The way you do it is just going online and signing up for yourself, and then go on there and try to win. You can enter to win $500 there. If you have the best bracket locally, you get $1,000. There you go. We'll come back. We've got more to go right around the corner. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Guess what we have here for you? It's Best and Worst, brought to you by an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. And now the Mitsubishi vehicle brand is now in the Doug Smith family of dealerships. So there you go. We're going to be there tomorrow.
Can't wait.
We love going there.
Come take a test drive with us.
Honestly, though, Chris Smith and his dudes, like that whole team does a phenomenal job of making it an absolute.
Yeah, you're not going to find a better car buying experience. Or even a car shopping. You don't have to buy, just go by and check them out.
Test drive, let's go. All right, we'll be there tomorrow. All right, best and worst of the day. We'll start with worst, and that is the Minnesota Golden Gophers pitching staff taking on Kansas yesterday at the Vikings home field there in Minneapolis. Here's what it sounded like.
Diggins swings and sends this in the air to deep left center field. Back goes Easton Richter. He leaps up, and that is gone. Trying to get out number one. This is blasted to deep left field. And that is gone for a solo home run. Council drives this to deep left, and they go back to back to back. The 1-0 is hit to deep right. Back it goes, twisting towards the pool, and it's another home run for the Kansas Jayhawks. The second inning. And this is hit well to deep left. That is back, and that is gone.
Wow.
5 straight home runs for the Kansas Jayhawks.
5. So that, by the way, that only ties a record, a Division I baseball record. So that happened
That's
again.
a lot of pings.
I know that was. It sounds unnerving, doesn't it? And you're like, every time that ting, kind of sounds like they're cheating, you know. But either way, 5 homers in a row, back to back to back to back to back home runs.
Rock chalk Jayhawk.
That's your worst. It was the Minnesota. And by the way, it was only 2 pitchers. So the first guy gave up 2. The coach rips him. The next guy who comes in and replaces him gives up 3 in a row. There you go. Jimmer Fredette, by the way, here's your best. Jimmer Fredette's going to be joining the Yahoo Sports Selection Sunday show.
Jimmer doing some TV work.
I love it. Jimmer Mania back, and he's going to be rolling it out. And when that BYU logo pops on the screen, he's going to feel, I bet, a lot of pride as he sees what this BYU team's doing after they won today against Iowa State. Now they're on to the semifinals. We'll see how this thing shakes out. We know they're going to be there. We just wonder where, what city, what seed line, all of that. So, all right, JJ, did you have fun this hour?
Had a blast. It's been a fun show.
Let's do some more, though.
Great day for BYU fans. Let's keep it rolling tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll be back. More to go right around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.